To do, Mr. Corner, is go ahead and share some information with you about our program and our processes and exactly what we're all about, okay?
Okay.
The first 3 pages I'm going to share with you are credibility pages. And one thing we like to do in all the communities where we are serving in the United States of America is get involved in those communities. And one prime example is where our home offices are located is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we are a major corporate sponsor with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. And as you can see here, this is just a little ad about us here. Gives a great description about what our services are, what our company's all about. And the Fort Wayne Mad Ants are tied directly to the Milwaukee Bucks, Indiana Pacers, and the Detroit Pistons. So it gives us some extra notoriety and exposure just in those major markets alone right there. The next page I want to share with you, this is where we were 6 months ago, and this was our first large expansion as far as our national exposure goes. And these cities were strategically picked, and there was a purpose and a reason behind those. This is where we are today. This is where the company's grown in the last 6 months. And there's actually quite a few more cities to be added to this sheet. And flipping to the next page, you may have a nephew, a niece, someone that you know in the family, a lot like your son that's a great athlete that you think would benefit from the program and the services.
I've got someone in Peoria. Can they sign up for this?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got representatives in all these cities, plus there's quite a few more cities to be added to this. So what we'll do is when we're done with today's session, I'll go ahead and get the contact information of that family member, and we'll give them a call and get things set up for them. But absolutely, they can sign up and take advantage and have the benefits of the program.
Great.
Next is going to be, this is the sheet. There's 2 different ways that you can log in. You can log in as a student athlete, and you can log in as a coach at the university level. Okay. The first thing I'll talk to you about is on the left side of the page. When you log in as a student athlete, just some of the things that you're going to see is the student athlete's profile, complete resource center, the Twitter, the Facebook pages, things like that. Following down from there, these are all active links. As you click on it, obviously it's going to take you to that link and that next page. Underneath that, you'll see some of the things in the resource center. How do I, when do I, a complete list of tips. That's where you're going to find the colleges and universities, the list of those things, and much, much more. Also, you'll see here in the middle of the page, that's the actual athlete profile, which I'll show you that on the next page, a great sample of that and exactly how that works. The other thing you'll see that I mentioned is when you log in as a coach at the university level. A coach puts their login and their password in, and they're able to go in, select a sport, drop-down boxes appear where they can put in all the parameters of what they're looking for. They fill in those parameters, they click submit, and up comes a list of all the kids in the nation under AIMHI's profile program that fit that particular parameter and sport. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned, as far as the next page being an actual profile sample page, okay? You'll notice here that these are all different sections. These are all tabs, if you will. And these are all live working tabs across the top of the page and down the left side of the page. When each tab is clicked on, whether it be athletic information, statistical information, highlight film, game film, etc., each tab will fill this screen with that information that's selected, okay? Across the top, you're going to see things like forward profile, email high school coach, contact high school coach.
Forward profile, that's for the student athlete to forward it?
Exactly. Once they go through into the resource center and they are able to pick a school, a university that they'd like to possibly go to, once they've checked out the academic side of things and they realize that this school offers what he or she wants to study, then they can check out the athletic program of the sport that they would like to participate in. They can then have the email address of the coach. This is where they come back to their page. They insert that with a simple copy or copy and paste form right into their profile, and they can go ahead and forward their profile. That's exactly where that's done there.
Cool.
So it's very user friendly, very informative, very clear. We put a lot of information out there, and coaches love us once again because they have all the information that they need at their fingertips at all times.
Gotcha.
Okay. Questions about that at all?
Nope.
Okay. Perfect. Next page you're going to see here, Mr. Corner. That's going to be an actual list of some of the things you're going to find in the resource center. I won't read through each and every one of these, but I want you to understand that, once again, that resource center that we provide for the student athlete is jam-packed with so much information, more information than, he or she could ever possibly need. Just
there's questions. Looks like there's an answer for it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got questions, the resource center is going to get you dialed in.
Okay.
Next sheet. This is one great example that AIM highlights to use because once again, our whole thing is leveling the playing field for the average athlete, creating that maximum exposure for the average athlete at the next level. And it's not where you go to school to get an education, it's what you do with that education after the fact.
Exactly.
Okay? And one prime example is Colin Powell. He went to New York City College, which to this day, its enrollment is still smaller than some of the high schools in the United States of America. And you'll know, just like anyone else, his career speaks for itself. And what, Mr. Powell was able to do with his career, or with his education, forwarding it into his career, speaks volumes. So once again, this is about creating, exposure for the athletes and getting them to understand, the golden ticket might not be in their own backyard, but wherever it is, it's what they do with that education after the fact. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Another thing that we like to do when it comes to value, keeping in mind, our program sells for $15.95. Okay, back in the days when I went through the recruiting process, it was the days of the letter resume, if you will. And athletes sent out letters to schools numerous times, just trying to get the word out about themselves. And in today's market, if you just wanted to send a nice informative letter about yourself and try to touch many schools, a stamp today costs 44 cents. And a student athlete needs to be in contact with 200 schools immediately. I mean, that just because you're going to get a 10 to 20% return ratio as far as responses go, so you can start the selection process as far as where you would like, the student athlete to be able to go to college to get that financial aid.
Okay.
And so if you have 200 schools and you did 5 letters at 44 cents a piece, your total stamp investment is $440. So it's pretty remarkable, And that doesn't take into account the fact that you're not getting any DVD footage, all the other information, resulting back to our profiles, the only thing going is a letter. This is everything a coach is ever going to need to see
and every time
about your
something changes, you got to send them a letter.
That's exactly right. Anytime statistics change, academics change, any changes in information, you're going to have to resend a letter. Oh, by the way,
you know how much time it takes to send letters?
Well, exactly, exactly. It takes a ton of time. Okay. Next page I want to share with you, and obviously you're getting the gist of the value, but just let me share this with you once more. These are averages as far as aim high is concerned. The average freshman that enrolls in our program is going to graduate high school in approximately 1,200 days. It's a $1.42 investment a day. For the price of a pop, he or she has everything they're ever going to need in their home to get them the maximum exposure with the push of a button.
Got it.
All right.
Yep.
Furthermore, one thing you're going to want to do is NCAA.org is going to get you the College Bound Student Athlete Guide.
I've heard about that thing.
This is the Bible, if you will, as far as the recruiting process for the NCAA.
Does that cost to download?
It does not cost a thing to download, and we keep it. We make it accessible in the resource center.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. And this is going to give you every rules, regulations, contact periods. Anything and everything needs to be known for the NCAA for recruiting purposes is found inside this guide.
Got it.
Okay. Last but not least, your son, he's going to need a plan of attack. He's going to need a plan of attack right now. Okay?
Yep.
And one thing I want to share with you is, this is the myth and reality sheet. Okay? I'm gonna hit on some things. While feel free to hold that there, read through that. There's a lot of statistical information in here. Some of the things you're going to find. There's a big myth that, well, my high school coach says he can get me he's going to help me get a scholarship.
Well, he said he knows 2 people.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, and high school coaches are great, you know what I mean? But their immediate circle and resources is usually around 4 to 5 people on average, and it's usually pretty local or within the state of, okay? So once again, we want to take that exposure. Don't eliminate 99% of your possibilities by relying on about a 1% chance that your coach may have to get you to the next level. Okay. Another big thing is, 84%, we have an 84% success ratio. One of the reasons why is because we're able to take that exposure and send it out all over the place. And I've talked about with you earlier in our conversations before we got into this, all the athletes want to play on Saturdays. They all want to go to the big D1 schools. They all want to, play for the big programs and this, that, and the other. 94% of all the opportunities for financial aid assistance at the collegiate level falls outside of D1A. Okay, so